You know that feeling when you look at a pile of raw electronic components, just a random scattering of microchips, jumper wires, and plastic, and you can just see the potential sitting right there on your desk? Well, today we are going to actually tap into that potential. We're going to take a basic Arduino and some scattered parts and transform them into a fully functional, localized smart home control hub. You're going to take invisible light from a standard TV remote and turn it into real, physical action right before your eyes.
Welcome to this explainer. Our goal for this 2-hour lab workshop is, honestly, incredibly exciting. We're not just talking theory here. We are engineering a complete wireless automation system entirely from scratch. By the end of our time together, you won't just know how your TV remote works. You'll have actually built a custom system that decodes those invisible signals to drive mechanical actuators, light up displays, and even sound alarms.
Okay, let's dive right into our builder's blueprint. We've broken this down into 5 clear logical phases. First, setting up the hardware. Second, decoding the invisible signals. Third, programming the output devices. Fourth, real-time visual feedback. And finally, the completed smart home.
Starting with Phase 1, setting up the hardware. Basically, gathering our pieces and wiring up the system's nervous system.
It's always wild to look at the contrast between where we start and where we're going. We've got our raw parts, the Arduino Uno, that VS838B infrared receiver, a handful of LEDs, an active buzzer, an SG90 microservo, and an LCD screen. But we aren't just blindly plugging things in. We are following a very specific sequential circuit plan to create a systemic architecture. Every single component has a designated role to play.
Now, to make this work safely and predictably, we rely on a strict pin mapping scheme. The IR receiver's data outline routes over to digital pin 2. The buzzer goes to pin 4, and the servo signal connects to pin 5. Our 3 LEDs, they connect to pins 6, 7, and 8. But listen, here is an absolutely crucial hardware rule. Those LEDs must be wired in sequence with 220 ohm current limiting resistors. Skipping those safety resistors is literally a fast track to causing a short circuit and permanently frying your Arduino's internal logic gates. Always verify your polarities before you plug in the power.
Moving on to Section 2, decoding the invisible signals. This is where we teach our newly wired system how to listen. So if you've never messed around with infrared before, the term demodulation might sound a bit intimidating, but it's actually super elegant. Think about it. The room you're in right now is completely flooded with stray infrared light from the sun and heat sources. To cut through all that noise, TV remotes pulse their signals riding on a specific 38 kHz carrier wave. Our sensor, the VS1838B, is our dedicated hardware translator. It physically strips away that 38 kHz background noise so the Arduino only hears the pure, raw digital signal it was meant to catch.
So how does this fit into our software pipeline? Well, once that sensor hands off a clean digital signal to the Arduino, the open-source IR remote library takes the wheel. It runs a background loop measuring the microscopic durations of every single incoming light pulse. Then it automatically maps those specific timings against standard international communication protocols, like the NEC standard used by most household remotes, compressing all that chaotic timing data into one easy-to-use package. To actually capture those neat little packages, we flash a quick diagnostic sketch called IR Receive Dump V2 and pull up our serial monitor. By just pointing the remote at the sensor and mashing buttons, we capture a unique 8-character hexadecimal code for every single key. For an NEC standard remote, your power button might pop up as 0FFA25D, while channel up is 0FFE21D. We literally just write these exact codes down because these are the specific triggers we're going to use in our main control loop later.
All right, Section 3, programming output devices. Let's map those invisible signals to real physical actions.
Think about your smart home for a second. If you just turned a pin on while a remote button was held down, your lamp would shut off the second you lifted your thumb. Pretty useless, right? So the crucial concept here is toggle logic. Instead of needing one button for on and a totally different one for off, we give the Arduino a memory. We maintain an internal true or false Boolean flag for each appliance. When the right remote code comes in, the software just flips that flag. True becomes false, false becomes true.
Let's ground this in reality with our LED array. Say we map that channel up hex code we found earlier to our first LED. You press channel up, the firmware detects the code, it instantly flips that internal Boolean flag we just talked about and sends voltage out to digital pin 6. Boom,
The LED lights up and stays lit, completely on its own, until you press that exact button again to flip the flag back.
And we apply that exact same toggle principle to our audio warning system. By mapping just a single key, say the mute button, to an internal tracking variable, we can toggle our piezoceramic buzzer. Press it once, the buzzer enters an active mode, giving you a steady acoustic confirmation tone whenever any appliance changes state. Press it again, and the whole system flips back to silent mode.
Next up is the servo motor. Now, unlike simple on-off LEDs, a servo needs precise angular positioning. And there's a real physical risk here. Standard servos can only rotate between 0 and 180 degrees. If a bug in your code tells that motor to crank to 190 degrees, the internal gears will literally grind against their limits and overheat. To prevent that, we use the constrain function. Think of constrain angle 0, 180 as bowling alley bumpers for your code. It mathematically restricts any target angle to a safe range before the command is ever sent to the motor.
What's really cool is how we bring that servo to life interactively. We program the left and right arrow keys on our remote to execute precise 10-degree step adjustments. Safely protected by our constraint guardrail, every press smoothly clicks the motor 10 degrees left to right. This stepping method is absolutely perfect if you're trying to simulate automated mechanical systems, like, say, opening and closing motorized window blinds.
Which brings us to Section 4, Real-Time Visual Feedback. Time to close the communication loop.
We're adding a 16 by 2 character display, but we are absolutely doing it the smart way. A standard parallel LCD setup needs anywhere from 6 to 12 messy digital jumper wires that would immediately eat up almost all of our Arduino's available input/output pins. But by using an LCD paired with an I2C serial backpack, we get a massive wiring advantage. We compress all that data down to just 2 shared communication lines, serial data, or SDA, and serial clock, or SCL. It's a real game changer.
Hooking this up is a breeze. On the Uno, you just connect the SDA line to analog pin A4 and SCL to analog pin A5. One critical technical heads up though, these screens talk over the bus using a specific hexadecimal hardware address, usually 0x27 or 0x3f. If your screen powers on but just stays totally blank, seriously, don't panic. Just run an I2C scanner script to verify your specific hardware address. Oh, and software-wise, make sure your code only updates the text when a device's state actually changes. If you continuously update the screen in your main loop, you're going to get an unreadable, flickering mess. But when it all fires up together, man, it is a thing of beauty. Here is our final software loop in action. The split second you press a button on the remote, the infrared command is decoded. The toggle logic flips the state of an output device, and instantly, the I2C screen clears and pushes the new text layout. It gives you absolute clarity on exactly what is happening in your smart home at any given second.
Finally, Section 5, the completed smart home. Let's bring the whole shebang together.
Just look at what you've achieved here. We started with a pile of raw parts, and by systematically combining hardware demodulation, precision code mapping, Boolean toggle logic, mathematical constraints, and a highly efficient 2-wire I2C communication bus, we've built an incredible ecosystem. It's buzzing, it's glowing, it's moving, and you are completely in control of it wirelessly.
So you've totally nailed the fundamentals of localized smart home engineering today. You know how to make microcontrollers listen, process, and act. The only question left is, what are you going to build next? Are you going to add a relay module to control heavy-duty AC stuff like lamps and fans? Or maybe integrate an ESP8266 Wi-Fi chip and upgrade from infrared to full smartphone app control? The foundation is rock solid, and the possibilities are literally endless. Keep tinkering, keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.